everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. So something huge has happened today. Well, I guess it happened a couple days ago, but this man right here, this is like a huge, influential rabbi. He was buried today. Okay, his name is Chaim Kanievsky. And let me just give you an idea as to the scope of what he represented to Judaism and to Israel. Okay, and then we're going to see why. Okay, so first we're going to see the effect that he had. Okay, here's a picture of his funeral just to give you an idea. Let's zoom in. You can see that there's just like a countless number of people there, and there's his van / hearse. Okay, so Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky buried, thousands break into cemetery. Okay, so you get the sense that if thousands of people are breaking into a cemetery when you die and are buried, you're probably a pretty big deal. Officials concerned it could develop into a second Meron disaster. I actually remember this from last year. I can't remember if I did a video about this, but last year, okay, so there's a Jewish holiday called Lag BaOmer, or Lag BaOmer, I don't know. This year, it's going to be May 19th, and it celebrates the great sage and mystic Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who is the author of the Zohar. This gets into what some would call Jewish mysticism, but I'm not going to go off and explain what all that is, but it's a big deal. Okay, so during the annual celebration of this, or remembrance of this, there was an event that happened last year. 45 men and boys at the event were killed, and about 150 were injured, dozens of them critically, making it the deadliest civil disaster in the history of the State of Israel. So they were concerned that something like that was going to happen for this funeral. Okay? They were worried that this would be so big that something like that could happen. Clashes between police and some attendees at the funeral, dozens already injured. Okay, now Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky's body was buried on Sunday afternoon. At his funeral, where thousands of people broke into the cemetery during the burial. Some attendees climbed up the fence at the entrance of the cemetery. However, police maintained that everything was under control, Israeli media reported. At least 37 attendees of Kanievsky's funeral were injured in various incidents in Bnei Brak, and that is a city. So this is where it took place. Okay, so let me zoom out. You see Jerusalem down here, but Bnei Brak, it looks like that's kind of like a suburb of Tel Aviv. That's the largest city in Israel. Well, I think it's the largest, but outside of Jerusalem, it's like the largest Jewish city, essentially, Israeli city. So Bnei Brak is right here on the east side, the eastern suburbs. Okay, so where were we? According to Israeli media, all were treated on the spot by MDA staff, though 15 others were evacuated to nearby hospitals. The following afternoon, the municipality estimated that there were about 750,000 people on the streets of Bnei Brak even before the opening of the funeral procession. Here is a video. Okay, so that gives you a sense of just how intense this was. Opposition leader Benjamin Netanyahu was stuck over an hour at Kanievsky's home after coming to pay respects due to the intense crowding in the area. Quote, now this is from Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, the current Prime Minister. Rabbi Kanievsky's death is a great loss to the Jewish people. His name will be remembered as an important part of Torah history of the people of Israel. So this is the Prime Minister of Israel talking about him. This man was huge. It was huge, and like I said, in just a little bit, we're gonna explain why he was so important, and why I think that this possibly could be a sign of the times. If there's something, let me just put it this way: if there's something that the Jews view as a sign of their times, I think it counts as a sign of the times. Even though they don't accept Christ as the Messiah, we know that they will when he comes during the second coming, and they are still God's covenant people, along with us, the rest of the tribe of Israel that are in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who've been baptized and been brought back from being scattered throughout all the world. They are still part of us, although currently in a kind of an apostate state, but they still, I think, God's working with them. That's all I'm trying to say. So when things like this happen, I think that we need to take note. Okay. Here's another picture. You can just see tons and tons and tons of people. Okay, now look at this. The cost of Rabbi Kanievsky's funeral will reportedly cost the Israeli economy $1.5 billion, according to Mako, citing an analysis conducted by the Business Information Company. So it's had a huge effect on the economy. Well, a big cost, a very big cost, $1.5 billion. I'm not sure what that is. I don't know what NIS is. I don't know Israel's currency. I guess NIS is that. I don't know. But $1.5 billion, that sounds pretty big. Main highways in central Israel, as well as entrance to and exit from Bnei Brak, will be blocked through Sunday as hundreds of thousands will flock to attend Kanievsky's funeral in the Ponevesa community cemetery in the city. The revered rabbi, considered to be the leader of his generation in Haredi society, now Haredi, in this Wikipedia article, explains what that is. The term most commonly used by outsiders, for example, most United States news organizations, is ultra-Orthodox Judaism. Okay, so I do believe that there's a difference between Orthodox. The Orthodox, they're the ones that wear the black suits and the hats and stuff like that. But I think within the Orthodox, there is ultra-Orthodox. So that's what you would call Haredi. Okay, so let's go back and read that again. The revered rabbi, considered to be the leader of his generation in Haredi, or ultra-Orthodox society, died at 94 on Friday, so just 2 days ago, after failed resuscitation attempts by United Hatzalah medics who rushed to the scene after receiving reports of Kanievsky's collapse. Kanievsky was, quote, the only great man of the land of Israel, end quote, according to Rabbi Gershon Edelstein, a senior Haredi leader and widely speculated to be Kanievsky's successor. That's quite the statement. The only great man of the land of Israel. Okay, so are you like getting a sense of how big this guy was to them? And is, even though he's dead. Despite Jewish law stating it is customary to bury the dead on the day they die, leading rabbis decided it was best to hold Kanievsky's funeral on Sunday following consultations. Okay. Unparalleled in his generation, Rabbi Kanievsky laid to rest in massive funeral. Here's a bunch of pictures. Let's start here with number 1. Men gathered during the funeral ceremony of Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky in the city of Bnei Brak on March 20th, 2022, today. Look at all those people. Let's go to the next one. Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky is in the northern Israeli city of Safed on February 26, 2020. Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky being laid to rest at Zikron Meir Cemetery in the city of Bnei Brak today. So I'm of course this right here, I guess, is the body. Everyone's trying to touch him. I wonder, is this what? Okay, whatever. I'm not going to speculate about this picture, but just look at that. Okay, ultra-Orthodox Jewish men pray and wait as they gather outside the home of Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky. Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky of Bnei Brak is asked whether Florida Jews may break Shabbat to flee Hurricane Irma. I am no expert on Judaism. This sounds a lot like, the Pharisees. I've heard that basically what has survived since the time of Christ is basically the Pharisee movement. They don't really call it that nowadays, but that kind of school of thought is what Judaism basically is today. I heard that when I was watching a Jewish YouTube channel, and it was for Jews. It was for people, Jewish people that were learning about Jewish history and stuff like that. And so this instructor, that's what he said, if I remember correctly. But anyway, it's just crazy to think, are you allowed to break the commandments, keep the Sabbath day holy in order to flee a hurricane? I'm not making fun. It's just that's crazy. So they're consulting with him if that's okay. Ultra-Orthodox Jews, or Haredi Jews, attend the funeral ceremony of Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky in the city of Bnei Brak. And it looks like here's all the police kind of surrounding the vehicle. Okay, now we're back to the first picture. Okay, so what do we have in this article? Did I highlight anything? Pretty sure I did. Maybe not. Maybe that got lost. Okay, oh yeah, here we go. I had to refresh the page and it came back. Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky was laid to rest on Sunday in an event that saw hundreds of thousands of people throng to Bnei Brak to pay their last respects to the influential Haredi scholar and leader, or ultra-Orthodox Jewish scholar and leader. Between 500,000 and 750,000 people turned out, according to various assessments, and dozens of schools were shut and highways closed down ahead of the funeral. It was the biggest such event since an estimated 800,000 people crowded Jerusalem's streets and alleys for the funeral of Sephardi sage Rabbi Ovadiah Yosef in 2013. Kanievsky, who died Friday afternoon at age 94, was a hugely influential leader of the non-Hasidic Lithuanian ultra-Orthodox community with hundreds of thousands of followers and a scion. See, there's that word again. We came across this when I did the video yesterday about how Jews view the Messiah. They say that during any given point of time, there's always a scion that is descended from David that could become the Messiah. At any given time, throughout history, there's always a scion. So I'm not exactly sure. I'm not going to look it up now, but obviously a scion is a very religiously significant person. But anyway, and so he was a scion of rabbinical dynasties known for his elite Talmud study. Now, what is the Talmud? In case you don't know, this is from myJewishLearning.com. The Talmud, origin, Hebrew. the set of teachings and commentaries on the Torah. The Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament. Okay, the 5 books of Moses. So it is a set of teachings and commentaries on the first 5 books of Moses that form the basis for Jewish law. Comprised of the Mishnah and Gemara, so I guess those are like 2 parts of it. It contains the opinions of thousands of rabbis from different periods in Jewish history. Okay, so it's Jewish rabbi commentary and teachings about the first 5 books of the Old Testament, and it's the basis for Jewish law. That's what the Talmud is. Okay. Quote, "There's a man who weighs as much as the whole rest of the nation," said Rabbi Yitzchok Zilberstein, 88, Kanievsky's brother-in-law. God Almighty takes the man who weighs as much as all the people in order to atone for the people of Israel. Gosh, just look at like how much they revered him. Huge. I'm not going to play that. Okay. So, and then there's just like another article. This is from Jerusalem Post as well. Kanievsky's generation of leaders is dying out. And that's going to play into this. The reason why he was so important and so influential. Israel's final Prince of the Torah dies. Last signpost before Messiah, according to Talmud. Now, I'm not familiar with the Talmud. I've never read it, obviously. But again, the Talmud, that's that compilation of teachings and opinions of rabbis. And I guess according to that, in some way, his death, they believe, is the final signpost before the Messiah. That's probably according to some people's interpretation, but let's just read and see what it says. Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky, this generation's preeminent Torah leader and known among the Haredim, the Prince of Torah, passed away on Friday during Shushan Purim at 94. Purim, or however you want to pronounce it, that is a holiday. This is the celebration, or this is like a commemoration or an observance remembering Esther from the Bible and how she was instrumental in saving the Jewish people when they were in Persia. Because there was one particular leader, he wasn't the king, but Haman, he wanted to basically wipe out all Jews. And Esther, who married the king, the Persian king, I can't remember his name, she was instrumental in essentially talking to him and saving the Jews from what Haman wanted to do. So it's called Purim. That's the name of the holiday. So he passed away. Let's go back. He passed away. I don't know what Shushan Purim is. I don't know if that's like the eve or like maybe the day after, but it's interesting that he would die on that day, okay, on one of the Jewish holidays. Okay, born in, so he was 94. Wow, 94 years old. Look at this compared to, let's see, President Russell M. Nelson, image. Let's look at this one. Open a new tab. Zoom in. I'm not trying to say that we're better or anything like that, but look at President Nelson, a 98-year-old, and look. Sorry, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but look at 94 years old. I'm not even sure. This could even be younger for all I know. I don't know when this picture was taken, but 94 years old versus 98 years old. This was within like the last year or two. So, wow. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so at 94, born in Poland in 1928, Rabbi Kanievsky moved to Israel with his family when he was 6 years old and never left the country. That's fascinating. It's fascinating. So he was born before World War II in Poland, and then, let's see, 6 years later, that would have been 1934. So yeah, so he got out of there just in time. Then he went to Israel, and then since that time, he never left the country. Excuse me. So this would have been actually before Israel became a state, if that's when he moved. Okay, so he was there from before it became a nation. Okay, largest in Israel's history. Look at that. Despite Jewish law stating it is customary... Okay, we already read that. Here's a video. Just showing all the people. Rabbi Kanievsky never made public statements concerning the Messiah until 2011, when he shocked his followers by interpreting the Arab Spring uprisings as evidence that Messiah might be near. These statements became more frequent and more intense. Now, see, this is probably has a lot to do. I'm sure that he was just like an incredible mind when it came to the Talmud, Jewish law, and stuff like that. But I wonder, I think that this probably had something to do with it too, that he was like saying these different things about Messiah being near. These statements became more frequent and more intense. In 2015, following the 2014 Jerusalem synagogue attack, he repeatedly referred, and that's in bold, he repeatedly referred to the imminent arrival of the Messiah. He urged diaspora Jews, those are Jews outside of Israel that have not been gathered back to the land of Israel, to make aliyah, or immigration to Israel, reportedly resulting in the arrival of a substantial number of French Jews. In February 2020, shortly after the Israeli legislative elections, it was reported that Rabbi Kanievsky had stated that the coming of Messiah was imminent and that he was holding meetings with him. Okay, so in 2011, that's when he makes his first mention about Messiah, and then it becomes more frequent. And then by 2020, he's actually claiming that he's having meetings with Messiah. Okay, so you can see why maybe there's so much excitement or so much, devotion to him or respect. Okay, so that's quite the statement to say that you're meeting with Messiah. Okay, quote, "The righteous of the generation, especially one as great as Rabbi Kanievsky, are taken to save the generation from trials and tribulations that are coming," Rabbi Berger said. In the last generation, no rabbi spoke about the imminent Messiah like Rabbi Kanievsky did. He requested for me that since the Messiah is about to be revealed, anyone who wants to be spared from the birth pangs that precede the Messiah should immediately begin learning Torah and performing acts of loving kindness. He told me to shout this from the rooftops, to, and this is in bold, announce it on loudspeakers, anything to get the people to listen. Messiah is only getting closer. As time goes on, the Messiah is only getting closer, Rabbi Berger said. It is a matter of life and death for people to understand this now. Rabbi Berger cited that Talmud, Sanhedrin 97a, which states that in the generation before the Messiah reveals himself, Torah scholars will decrease in number. So it looks like that is why this article is called, or says that this is like the final sign or the final signpost, because he passed away, and therefore Torah scholars are decreasing. And when we go back to this article that we didn't read, Kanievsky's generation of leaders is dying out. Well, that seems to be related to this belief that that's something that's supposed to happen before Messiah comes. There is no other tzaddik or righteous man. There is no other righteous man waiting in the wings to lead the generation, Rabbi Berger said. This is the last signpost before Messiah. It should also be noted that on the same day that Rabbi Kanievsky left the world, Rabbi Amram Vaknin passed away. Rabbi Vaknin was known for his deep connection to the prophet Elijah and his prophetic visions. Okay, so essentially, if you're Jewish, especially if you're Haredi, you're Orthodox, this is a big deal. This was like, it seems like this was basically the lead, most authoritative rabbi who claimed that he was talking to Messiah and having meetings with him. So you can see why there might be so much excitement, so much of this going on at his funeral, right? It would be interesting to talk with some of them. Are they kind of like talking among themselves and like, okay, this is it. Messiah is gonna make his appearance anytime now. It's interesting. Again, is that specifically interesting to us, or does it matter to us as Latter-day Saints? No, not directly. But like I said, the Lord is working among the people. And I believe that he is preparing their minds for the second coming when Christ comes to the Mount of Olives. Okay, that's what I think. And so that's why I think it's important to watch what they're doing, watch what they're saying, get a sense of their frame of mind. And it's just incredible that their minds are being prepped for what they call the Messianic age and what we would call the millennium, which, yeah, I guess you could also say that we would call it the Messianic age because Christ is going to reign for 1,000 years here on earth. So it's fascinating. It's fascinating to watch. I think that this is a sign of the times. This is affecting the Jews in a very profound way, as you can see. So, yeah. That's it for this one. Let me know what you think. Put your thoughts in the comments below. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it. Make sure to share it with anyone that finds things about Judaism and Israel interesting. Share it with them, and I'll talk to you guys later.